Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm CheerandCosplay.
And I'm Kozi.
And we're back with another week of Makoto Shinkai's work, getting really early into his professional career. This week we watched 5 centimeters per second, which is probably the one that put his name on the map, at least in America, I think. Am I thinking of that correctly?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned this one at least in passing a number of times whenever we were talking about all the other ones in the previous weeks that we watched. So now we're here. Was this anyone's first time watching this?
Yes.
Yes.
No, no's and yes. What
Okay,
for the?
so almost a half-half split.
Yeah, that sounded interesting. So for the people who just saw this, had you at least heard of this before?
I've heard of it. I heard that it was sad. That's all I heard about it.
And that's pretty, right?
Well, I mean,
Goes with the territory.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's literally... I think this was his first film that he did with... either this film or his 2004 film where he started with Comic X films that he's done all his films with.
Let me see here. I'm just gonna double check that. The other one you're mentioning is the Place Promised in Our Early Days.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was the same one.
Nope, that was also Comics Wave.
Yeah. So maybe that was the first one then. It just wasn't as popular though.
Yeah. Well, what was your guys' initial reaction to this?
I fucking hated this.
Wow, you're wrong.
Let him cook.
You remember, I don't know if I've told you guys this, but whenever I watched Devilman Crybaby for the first time, since I didn't watch it with you guys during the, when you guys did it for the podcast, I said I felt empty afterwards. Not quite as empty as that, but still feeling a little bit depressed after, well, I felt a little depressed and somewhat empty after watching it.
That's fair.
I mean, it is a sad movie. I can understand that. I was like, as soon as I heard you say, like, hey, remember Devilman Crybaby? I'm like, okay, where's he going with this? I am interested.
Let him cook, Al.
Let him cook.
Okay, nothing will... I don't think I'll ever watch anything that'll make me feel as empty as Devilman Crybaby's ending.
Okay, now I want to recommend a bunch of stuff just to fuck with you.
We can probably find an emptier one.
Like some Lars von Trier shit.
I think your viewpoint on this show will vary wildly depending on how comfortable you are with unrequited crushes that someone doesn't say anything about. Because, like, we've talked about this in real life. Like, I think personally, like, that's kind of fucking weird, especially if you're friends with someone and you don't say something.
Well,
like,
it wasn't... I mean, we'll obviously get into it, but it wasn't even like the two main characters were unrequited with each other.
Yeah.
It's just that they were too stupid not to keep in contact with each other after they moved away.
Am I crazy or
One
like...
person.
Did I feel like
the girl was still sending him letters. She gave up, though, because he never responded.
I thought they both had feelings for each other.
They did.
At the very least, they did in the first part.
They were just both too stubborn to try and keep in contact, or at least the girl did, but the guy was just too stubborn.
I think to me, it felt like one of those things which I think happens a lot in real life, where it's like you drift apart as you grow older and you don't see each other physically. So it's like you just naturally, like, it's not that you decide you want to stop talking. It's just that you just do because life gets in the way, you know?
Yeah.
At least that's how I always viewed it. It's just like life is happening.
I get that
them.
part, but like his obsession with her to the point it literally ruined his entire life. Like that's a little weird.
I didn't feel like he was obsessed.
Okay, I think we should start talking plot a little bit.
Plot first.
Yeah, and then we can psychoanalyze to our heart's content. So this is about a guy named, I wanted to call him Taki for a minute, but it's not Taki. Takakiki, Tano.
Yeah, it's
Tono.
Taki.
Takeshi Tono. I feel
Takeshi Takano.
Okay, is it just me, or like I feel like there's a lot of people with like Taki, Toki, Tony, like a lot of 4-letter T names in these movies. Am I crazy?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen Tony.
Well, Tono here. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on what's a common name in Japan.
Fair. Okay. So, anyway, Tono is a kid who he was friends with a girl named, god damn it, I forgot her name already. Akari.
Cares.
Oh god, Akari. I thought Hikari for a minute. I'm like, god, we haven't played that game in a bit. Yeah, so they're kids. They're in elementary school. They're kids who, you know, hung out a lot. They were friends, and then they kind of started having feelings for each other, and then they started moving away from each other. But then we have one day where they're trying to meet up on the trains, but then the trains, everything's going wrong because the weather's bad.
Maybe we should specify when you say they're moving away from each other. They quite literally moved away from each other.
Yes. Yeah.
Physically.
The girl moved first, and then the guy was moving away. And he was like, you know what, damn it, I want to see you one more time before I leave. So it wasn't even like a week. It wasn't even a weekend getaway. It was literally go to the train station, visit her for an hour or two, and then come back. But then it snowed, so he had like a 5-hour train delay.
It felt
and I give
so
props
much
to the
longer.
girl. I give props to the girl. She literally stayed in that train station waiting for him all that time. I'm thinking, man, you had to keep her on your hands, man, and you fucking blew it.
To me,
Okay, we'll
like,
get
this
there,
was
but-
such a great, like, section because it just felt so real. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like, that part on the train was perfect to me. I don't know.
You feel so bad for him and
Yeah.
kind of for her, but it's like, it's just one of those like moments where you're watching a movie, you're like, and you're just going to like the director, like, give him a fucking break
You
already.
just feel, like, you feel for it, you know? And it
That
just,
would
like,
totally be my luck in real life. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, right? It's like, really relatable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everything just suddenly going wrong when you just want to do like this
Yeah.
one last thing.
And then it just keeps
So
stacking.
sad.
The director was like, okay, let me cook. But yeah, eventually they do get to the station. They get to spend a few hours together. They sleep in a shack like homeless people for a night, and then they have to leave. But they share their first kiss.
They
Yeah.
slept like that because he wasn't supposed to be there. Like he did not ask permission. He just went.
Yes, fair.
Vroom vroom.
Vroom vroom, not so much. It's gonna be a few years before you can vroom vroom. Anyway, then we should mention this is kind of like a bit of an anthology type movie, all kind of revolving around
It's
this
in
kid a little
3
bit.
episodes.
Yeah, it reminds me of Digimon the movie. Anyone else get that vibe?
No.
Okay, just me.
No.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then it's him in. Well, this is high school, I think, and
we
it's
switched point of view.
yeah to surfer girl, Sumida.
Kanai
I'm terrible with these
Sumi
names.
sama mama.
Sumisama Mama, and she's in love with this guy. She got it bad, like real bad. Like, honey, get over it, bad.
He is not worth it.
I mean, honestly,
Because she's got it so bad, like it's destroying her self-confidence.
he was nice to me once. I'm in love with him.
I mean, wasn't it kind of like he was like the only one that was nice to her, so she
Yeah,
kind of,
I get it.
attached to him or something like that?
Was he the only one?
No.
I didn't get
that
that
was
sense
not
myself.
what it was at all.
Yeah.
That's how it was with the first girl.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. But,
I
like,
mean, I don't know. I felt like she just had, like, a crush on him. Like, you just have a crush on someone.
It was originally because he was a city boy and he paid attention to her.
Yeah.
I could kind of see that. Something a little bit different. You're like, only used to the people in your town, and then suddenly he's the exchange student, so that's why. That's
like,
a classic
okay,
trope.
I get it, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, when you're a teenager, crushes feel so much bigger. It's like you're in love, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Again, like, kind of the level that she went to, though, because this girl was stalking him. We can't call it anything else but stalking.
I think she prefers the term obsessively shadowing. She kind of like is waiting for him every day after school so they can like ride their scooters together. And she keeps going like, I'm going to say something today, but then she doesn't say anything. And then she's like, I want to say something today. And then she doesn't say anything. And he's like, I'm going to finally tell him how I feel. And then nothing. Well, she cries about it, I guess. She cries in front of him, which is a great...
Yeah, she did cry in front of him.
Yeah. And I guess he was nice about it. But then she was like, he doesn't actually see me.
No.
So.
Because he's always pretending to text Hikari.
Yeah, that was sad. And I don't mean sad like sad like sad like, ugh, boy.
Pathetic.
Little bit, my guy. Fast forward to adulthood and things.
Well, wait.
suck.
I do want to say, she ends up getting over it.
Good.
Yeah.
Like, she had, like, a stall in, like, her surfing. I said career, but it's more of a hobby at that point that she wants to be a career. And because she lets him go and tries to get over him, she gets over the hump she has in that. Like, good for her.
I thought she got over the hump and then decided, now I'm going to confess my feelings to him. Or am I getting that backwards?
No, because she didn't
'Cause I thought it
actually
was that
confess her feelings.
I finally rode a wave again.
Didn't she? Did she?
This is
Pretty
the
sure
sign
she
that
did.
I should say my piece.
Because her breakdown where she's like, oh my god, he doesn't see me, was before she got over the surfing thing.
Yeah,
I
she
thought
had
it
a
was.
she had a breakdown, and then I do think she got good at surfing, and then she rode that high and was like, all right, I'm gonna tell him.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that, I
and
think
he was
that-
like,
Then
no,
I thought
and
she was
like-
crying afterwards.
yeah.
I just watched this today. I'm pretty sure that was what happened.
Yeah, she cried afterward. She told him after she rode the wave. And
Yeah.
then she cried because he didn't
We
like her.
watched this like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. She didn't tell him.
Okay, so I'm thinking
Oh, yeah,
like
she
the
didn't tell him,
hill
but she
scene
assumed.
after school, where they're out in like the field where she starts crying.
Yeah, that was after the surfing.
Was it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Because that was what, just like every day she was like, I'm not going to tell him.
It
I'm going to
boosted
tell
her,
him.
yeah, to tell him.
She's like, she was riding that high, and then as she's riding that high, he's being nice and be like, oh, let's walk home, or let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh, he doesn't even see me. I can't even say anything.
Mhm.
Damn it. And then we fast forward. Unless I'm missing anything. Oh,
10
the shuttle
years.
launch, which was, we have to have a thing with Makoto Shinkai in space and
Yeah.
the sky and stuff. So we bring up the that there's a shuttle launch that's gonna be flying to the center of the solar system.
Sun?
And it's gonna be like, I think he saw a magazine in the future section. It like launched in 1999 and it was like got there in like 2008, so it was like 9 years.
Wasn't it to go like across the Milky Way, like towards the end of the edge of the Milky Way galaxy or something like that?
I thought it was for the center of the solar system. It might have been the galaxy. I'm not sure, but yeah,
No,
they
makes sense.
they at least had a thing about like it's at least a good frame of reference that it's 9 years after high school.
Okay. Officially, it says she failed an attempt to tell him she loved him. Sorry, I could not let this go.
Yeah, she cried her eyes out in front of him, and he was like, What's going on?" Because he's an
So
oblivious.
she didn't actually, like,
No,
do
she
it.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, she tried multiple times and she couldn't do it every time.
Yep. Maybe the surfing will work out.
Maybe.
Never know. There's some hot
I
surfer
mean-
dudes out there.
I mean, I'm gonna say hopefully after high school she found somebody that would actually appreciate her and
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Anyway, future
Anyways, yeah,
He's a
this
computer
is like
programmer?
15 years after the start of the story.
time. Oh, from the start of the story.
Total?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of in a failed relationship. He's quitting his job because, all the life has gone out of life. And yeah, everything sucks because, as his ex said, he's still in love with his first love. Which is like, bruh, how long has it been?
Well, not only that though, but like she's moving on. He was in a relationship, but then he's like, "Yeah, I'm still in love with her." So he essentially broke up with her without telling her, "Yeah, I'm done with you." So it's just kind of like
He
Yeah.
ghosted her.
I got
yeah, he goes.
Well, he goes in the calls later. I thought she was the one who said you're still in love with her. That's at least the thing I got from the voiceover that they were doing.
Maybe.
Which I'll talk about that at one point, but like, yeah.
So yeah, it basically is him living his entire life with regret of never pursuing that relationship with Makari, and just they
and he's
meet at the
dreaming of her every single
Yeah.
night.
and then technically this came first before Your Name, but like they did the whole train bit first, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, they almost reunited at the train station, right? The train passes by, and then unlike in Your Name, she leaves before he sees her, and then that's it. She moves on.
To be fair, I feel like a lot of people have used that, like, train crossing thing.
Also, like, we say she's getting married.
Well, yeah.
She has
doesn't
moved
really think
on.
about this guy beyond the fact that he broke her heart.
Well, yeah,
like, however many years ago.
Yeah, she found the letters that she found, like, a collection of letters she was going to send to him or something like that. Like, she reflected back. It's like, oh, yeah, this guy, I used to love him, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's a normal thing to have every now and then.
Yeah.
I think we've all reflected every now and then on, like, a past relationship or something, like, out of the blue. And, like, been like, huh, I guess I was a different person back then. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, like, it was one of those situations.
I was super naive back then.
Oh, I mean, you were, like, what, first year junior high? Who isn't?
Yeah, puppy love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those situations where she, like, truly moved on with her life, and he kind of always was stuck in that, like, the one who got away mentality.
Maybe. What are we thinking, like, as far as, like, the end goes when he walks back away? Are we feeling like maybe he's hit the point where he's like, maybe I can move on from this? Or, like, what are we thinking?
I sure fucking hope so. But I don't
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think he will.
The little smile to me says, like, maybe that was a moment of, like, oh, he saw her, she passed.
Officially,
Officially,
Makoto Shinkai says yes.
Okay. Because,
Yes,
like,
he
had he
moves on.
walked away
Yeah.
more depressed looking, I would have gone with, oh, he's still obsessed. Or had he run after her. But, like, the little smile and the turnaround is like, okay, it's time for me to live my life. Kind of thing. Which I guess means this overall ends on a happy-ish note.
I think it's, like, bittersweet, because, like, in the lyrics of the
Yeah.
song, too, like, there is, like, a note of, like, sadness of, like, if I only had a chance kind of mentality. But, like, at the same time, you do see him smile, and he does seem like maybe at some point he could maybe move on, like, not forget, but, like, maybe move
Find something
forward
that's more
in his
important
life.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, here's my thing, too. I understand, like, we all, I don't know if everybody, but, like, I'm sure most people have had people that, like Yin was saying earlier, you drift apart and you wish you would have kept in contact with. I get that. I have dealt with people where you've lost in contact with. But, like, to me, if you were that in love with somebody, you could have at least tried to get her number or tried to get, like, her address and send in letters. Like, you were that much of a chicken to not reply back to any of her messages. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too differently as a 28-year-old man.
Yeah, I think when you're young, I don't know. Like, to me, it's not unrealistic. Like, if it's a long distance thing, to just, like, I don't know, like, life, for one thing, I still think life kind of gets in the way. And, like, you feel distance from them. Like, you kind of feel like, I don't know, like, you're not part of their life anymore. So you might just eventually feel like, well, should I write a letter? You know, I feel like when you're young, you kind of have those, like, insecurities, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Plus with the distance thing, and I think, like, this is something that people, because you're saying life in that, it's like, you know, you had life with that person, but when they're constantly around, you're constantly aware of them, and when they're not, then it's like, okay, your time's getting filled up by other stuff, and you have to think about other stuff, you have to do other stuff, and stuff that's not immediately present just sometimes slips a little bit. And then you're like, oh, you know what? We like sent letters every week. And then you missed 1 week. It's like, okay, I'll get them next week. And then, you know, you're doing it every 2 weeks. And then like as time just keeps going and your time keeps getting filled with more and more of what's not with them.
Yeah.
It just kind of naturally happens.
I think one of the really great things about the movie is that it shows, like, how two different people with two different personalities, and actually 3, including Surfer Girl, can react to, like, a first love that just doesn't work out. And some people can react really healthily and, like, move on from it and learn from it and find someone else or find a hobby or something that means something to them. And some people will, like, get stuck in that forever and it'll kind of, like, mess up their life, you know? So I think it really shows, like, how it can change people, like that first love kind of moment, you know?
I would kind of be interested to see what this story was like entirely from Akari's standpoint, because we don't
see her perspective, right?
Yeah, we get the little sum up of it that she gives us, but like we don't get to see like, okay, what did you go through? Did you have a time where you were still thinking about this, or like what was going on? What helped you move on? Who's the guy you're marrying?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not technically important for us in the story because most of this is going from Tono's perspective, but you know, I still think it'd be interesting to kind of look at that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the very least, the movie does do a good job of like, I think showing the emotions that you feel at those ages.
Like how intense it can be.
And like, granted, the whole world did seem to be against Toto in the opening of the movie. But sometimes that's, whether it really is or not, it always feels like the world's entirely against you.
Yeah.
And I think it captured that so well.
Yeah.
Although, I'm kind of curious, Cece, you said you hated this movie. I'm curious, what about it did you not like? I'm guessing everything.
Yeah, go off.
Yeah, the fact that he's an incel.
Oh.
Well, you guys all know the story, but the people watching do not. So, in college, there was this guy. He did not attend our college. He used to, like, hang out around all the time. And I was like, okay. And every now and then, he would do or say something a little creepy, and I was like, it's not fair of me to judge. We're all a little weird. And I was also going through some other shit at the time, so I was, like, trying not to freak out on anybody. It did not go well for me. But TLDR, he thought I was in a relationship when I wasn't. And the moment he found out that I wasn't, he was like, great, it's my turn. He directly said to me, I have earned having sex with you. We've been friends for 3 years. And I said, what the fuck? And he was like, yeah, I've basically just been waiting for my turn. I'm like, you're at least supposed to care about me. You're supposed to pretend that you care about me. You're not supposed to say that point blank.
I mean, he did pretend for 3 years.
No.
Not really. Not well.
Oh. Damn.
So, yeah. So anytime I see incels, I'm immediately like, heebie-jeebies. So, like, I see him in this kid. Like, the way he's still obsessed with her. I guess he's not, like, leading her on and pretending to be her friend. But it is weird that he stays so obsessed with her when he couldn't even, like, take the time to write a letter. He will, one letter back to her? Like, obviously she wasn't that important until he lost her. And then he's like, oh my god, my entire life revolves around this woman.
If I may, and I'm not, like, trying to disagree with you here, but as far as incel goes, at least by definition, he did have a girlfriend. So,
that is true.
I mean, I don't know, like...
Maybe just a neckbeard.
That maybe. I don't entirely know that he was obsessed necessarily with her. I think I go back to the fact that this is a really movie that really does a great job of showcasing young emotions and young love. I think that's what he was kind of missing.
Yes, but he was a very grown-ass man at the end of it.
I mean, like, at the very least, I don't feel like he expressed that he felt entitled to her love, or, like, he expected her to, like, give him some, you know? Like, I can see what you're saying about, like...
At the very end, he was expecting her to still at least be as hung up.
Really?
That's why he waited.
I didn't feel like he was. I didn't even feel like he was...
I didn't get that either.
I didn't get the sense that he expected anything from her, really. I feel like he felt like he already lost her.
Yeah, he definitely felt that.
But then the girlfriend was like, you're still hung up on her, but I don't think he expected to ever get her back, you know?
I think there was that one moment that he had of, like, if I turned around now, would she also turn around?
Yeah, but...
And ultimately, I don't think he actually gets an answer because the train moves at that one point. But also then she's gone, so whatever's going on, you know, clearly she's gone. And I think that was the key moment for him of, like, letting go... Not just of her, though I'm not even sure that it was about her. I think it was more about this lost sense of who I used to be, what I used to feel, kind of thing.
I guess I can see that.
Which,
I don't know.
is bad in itself, because then you're just in love with the idea of a person, which is never healthy or good.
Yeah, you can't love an actual person then.
So I think that's
It's like in
the
the Barbie
bad
movie.
part. Yeah.
Oh my
like,
god.
what Ken was going through.
Topical.
Yeah, so like I definitely see what you're saying, Cece, about like the ick that kind of comes with it, but at the same time, like at least I feel like he didn't feel entitled to anything. At least I didn't get the sense that he did.
I didn't get it either.
No, but this goes back to what I said at the very beginning, where I feel like it's a little different when it depends on how you feel about people who have like those unrequited crushes or loves.
Yeah.
How do you mean?
So like,
how do we feel about them?
So people who've had a negative experience with someone having an unrequited crush on them are gonna feel a little bit differently about it.
Oh, dude,
Okay.
I 100% disagree, because I've had many people have unrequited crushes who are very creepy and weird towards me.
But was it over like an extended period of time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, are we talking about that one guy from Anime Club?
There's been at least 2 or 3 that I could name, but I'm not going to name them. At least 2. Al is counting 3 or 4.
I might have 4, though I'd have to confer later.
Anyway, I definitely
I
have
thought you were
some.
saying that Al counts as one of those.
Uh,
No!
it was pretty requited, I think.
I don't think that counts.
Anyway,
You don't think that counts? Okay, now I'm questioning the entire relationship back then. Thanks for that anxiety.
Anywho, I don't know. Like, I think like it depends on, I guess, how you view the character in a certain way, but I don't know if it depends on your experiences with certain things, because I have had those experiences.
I can see both ends of this. Absolutely, a person's personal experience can absolutely flavor how they can see certain things in other stories or other people's lives a little bit. I mean, that's how we relate to other people.
All right.
But yeah,
But I think it also depends on how you interpret the character, and I can definitely see the interpretation of it being weird and creepy, but I can also see the interpretation of it being like a young love kind of thing. You know, I could see both depending on like how you read into like what is said and what's shown in the movie.
Yeah, at least for the movie, I felt
Like, I think your reading is totally valid, Cece.
Yeah, I would have felt differently if he would have, like... You said in the montage, some of the lyrics were like, oh, just give me a chance. He had the chance. He whiffed it.
Yeah, I mean, he did.
I don't even think whiff is the correct word. I think we need, like, a bigger word
he
for
beefed
it.
Yeah, that's why I think the lyrics are like one more time, one more chance. So I think it's not that he's blaming her, at least in my mind. It's that I think he regrets that he didn't take the chance. I think he knows he was wrong.
I think that's kind of what the song's about.
I think it's about regret, you know?
I think it's not so much about one person. I think he wants a redo of life.
Yeah. I think he knows he like fucked it up, but it's like,
give me one more chance. I'm going to go back and do a bunch of things differently. Maybe it doesn't even have to do with her. Maybe he's just missing how things used to be.
So he wants to, like, isekai himself backwards.
Tokyo Revengers?
Tokyo Revengers it.
I mean,
yeah.
Too bad this came out when it did before Makoto Shinkai was like, yes, let's do all of the weird things.
But
could have had a much different movie.
I do agree with what you guys are saying about, like, it's just about how big children's emotions are for the first section. And I think it was well done there. And then the second section felt like a different movie entirely. It was weird that the perspective changed once and then only the once.
Yeah.
I did feel for that girl because I've been there, like, crush, I don't know what to do with this, and then you just kind of like move on from it. And
I think she was supposed to be like a reflection of himself at that point.
That makes sense.
But then you had her dealing with it healthily.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So, like,
I feel like
I did like her bit. It's just the end. It's so weird that he's an adult, and I was just waiting for him to go up to her as an adult and be like, I'm still in love with you, so like we're gonna be together now, right? And her be like, I'm a completely different human being now.
I think I agree. It is strange that, like, after so long, he hasn't, like, moved on from this. I think, like, that is a little bit, like, oh, why is that? But I don't know, I guess thematically, because we're seeing it in such a short period of time, it feels like, oh, okay. But if you think of it in real life, it's like, oh, dude, you're like 20-something. Why haven't you moved on?
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
it'd be one of us going up to, like, our 6th grade crush.
It would be weird in real life. I think thematically it works because we're seeing it in such a truncated, like, view of everything, and we just think of it that way. But I think in real life, you're totally right. It would be super weird if we were looking at, like, our 12-year-old crush and still liking them, you know?
And, like, they only knew each other for, like, a year.
Yeah, it would be weird, but I think, like, the representation of, like, how you feel when you're in love when you're young, like, I think it represents something that makes sense, but I think when you imagine yourself in your 20s or 30s and still being in love with someone when you're, like, it's weird, but I think themes are there.
Yeah, I could agree with Al about, like, oh, he just wants an entire redo on life. Because you see his life falling apart, but we see his life falling apart framed in reference to his inability of letting go of Akari.
Can I circle back just a little bit to we are seeing a bit of a snapshot of his life, and this is kind of an encapsulated thing that kind of revolves around the central theme of the movie. Yeah, this is kind of the thing that's going on. I hope. Now, I can't really confirm for sure. But I would hope that the majority of his life is not revolving around this obsession that he has. I'm thinking this is just what's coming to the forefront of his mind right now because so many things are kind of like collapsing in relation to similar emotions. Had the breakup. So, he's dealing with that and then I think the quit the job just kind of was a result of like a larger depression that he's probably dealing with.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, that is the explanation that makes logical sense, but how the movie frames it...
Yeah,
it makes it seem like it's all in relation to her.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a point where a lot of things stem from, that he just has a lot of regrets about things that he's done in the past, or more importantly, didn't do in the past. And that's kind of like all coming to a head at this point.
It also doesn't help, too, that the movie's an hour, and so they kind of cherry-picked 3 specific moments in his life, all revolving around Akari in some way, shape, or form.
I think it's kind of like when throughout your life, you might have a moment where it's like, oh, what if I had ended up with that person from high school or whatever? But it's like your life doesn't revolve around it, and you don't necessarily want to go back and be with that person. But I think, like, the director, like, Shinkai, like, exaggerated it, But I think, like, you could think of it as that moment where you're in the deepest depths of despair right now, and you think about, what would my life have been like if that girl had worked out, or whatever,
I think to have framed it like that, he needed to not have him having those nightmares of Akari every night.
That's fair.
That made it seem like him quitting his job and breaking up with the girlfriend.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, if they would have just moved that to after that happened, perfect. Golden. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, I think it was a little excessive. Like, he maybe could have, like, toned it down so it didn't feel as creepy. Because, like, it was a little weird.
That's just, like, how they have it framed with him having these dreams and nightmares every night is, like, he's literally, he can't let it go. He's dreaming about it every night. It's affecting his real life now.
Yeah. I can see what you mean, yeah.
So I think if they would have just taken that little sequence and moved it back a little further.
Yeah, that could have helped.
If we're now talking a little bit about how, like, a lot of the story's framed and the way they're doing stuff like that. So I watched this dubbed. Who watched it subbed?
I watched it subbed.
Okay.
I think I watched it.
Dubbed.
I think I watched it dubbed.
For the subbed version, because I don't entirely remember, because I watched the sub version way back when.
Yeah.
Was there as much voiceover as there was in the dub? Because there was a lot of voiceover that I don't feel like I remembered super well.
Yeah, they had what's his name?
Okay, I just need to know that there was, because
they had Takaki and Surfer Girl narrate their respective sections.
Yeah, no, I remember a little narration. I didn't remember this much narration. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of hate it.
So you're thinking it's some, like, Saban level stuff?
Well, the reference I was actually going to make was the theatrical release of Blade Runner.
Ew.
Because if you know Blade Runner, the original cut, the director's cut, all that sort of stuff, there's a million cuts, I know. But originally it was not supposed to have like a noir voiceover from Harrison Ford, but the studio thought, the story's too complicated, people aren't going to get it, blah, blah, blah. We'll have him narrate the whole fucking movie. And it's not as good.
No.
So
yeah,
It's awkward.
I watched the right version of that movie. I
good,
watched
good.
the,
It's a good
I
movie.
watched
It's
the,
a really good
I
movie.
watched
It's
the
got some problematic
the,
issues, but you know.
Imagine if they did that with Inception.
It would have sucked.
Oh my
It would have
God.
sucked bad.
Can you imagine Leo DiCaprio just narrating the whole thing?
Well, I'm pretty sure there are some movies that he does that. But look, the thing that I'm getting at is like I think they kind of made a mistake with that, especially like in the very beginning. I almost feel like it almost works entirely without dialogue. What's happening?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, you need to do a few little things like translate some of the letters and stuff into English, maybe. I didn't really see that in the versions that I had, so I wasn't even really sure what he was writing in those emails in the second section, unfortunately. But I think like just a couple visual exposition things, because we know what's going on. He's trying to get somewhere and he can't.
No,
Like-
you're right, because like the silence would have been so much more impactful.
Right? Yeah, like, and especially because, like, which one were we talking about where the silence was really, like, was it Suzume that we were talking about? I think you mentioned the sound design for the silence really added to the whole scene and the desolation of a lot of those areas that they were in. You could have done the exact same thing here. I mean, what's more, like, emotionally impactful sometimes? Is it going to be the narration saying, like, how bad it is getting through all this snow? Or if all you hear is the winter wind screaming in your ears.
Oh, I don't think there was narration during that part.
There was
There
narration
was-
during the whole thing. I
Yeah.
watched this 4 hours ago.
Wait,
Endless narration.
maybe the sub is different then, because I don't remember any narration really during that.
I don't either. Now, I remember a lot of narration with the middle section and Surfer Girl.
The beginning had quite a bit.
A
I
little
think.
bit. But, like, I felt like once he got on the train in that, it
I don't
became almost a
remember
silent
narration.
film. But the dub has nothing but wall-to-wall narration.
I'm gonna have to watch the sub again, because I didn't think there was narration in that part.
Yeah. If I'm
Maybe
wrong,
they added stuff. That would suck.
I also really didn't like
the
how he was
narration
narrating.
was just about like, oh, we were delayed for so many hours. It took
Oh,
them
maybe
to
there
call
was,
the
maybe
crew
there
to
was.
clear off the tracks.
Like, the occasional bit, sure, but, like, we can totally tell what's going on. It's
Yeah.
snowing very heavy. We keep seeing things like delay. They keep announcing, we'll be delayed for 5 hours. Like, you don't need to tell us what's going on. We see everything.
Yeah, I don't remember now. I'm not sure. But yeah, I agree it wouldn't need it.
No,
Either way.
it doesn't at all.
Mhm.
I kind of understand a little bit of narration here and there, but I honestly think most of this movie, I kind of wish it was quiet.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been a lot more impactful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, it's at least my, like, critique on that.
That's fair.
Well, to be fair, I think the over narration worked in part 2 with Surfer Girl.
Yeah.
Because he was very quiet, and I think she was trying to fill up the space he just wasn't occupying in their interactions.
But didn't you feel like whenever he wasn't talking, you were just seeing him living his moment? I felt like that was more impactful because we weren't hearing anything and we were just seeing and picking up the visual clues of everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying, I think it worked for the second part, in the second
Yeah.
part alone.
I mean, like, to be real, I feel like most movies don't need the narration that sometimes they give them.
I think the
Unless
only,
it's, like, funny.
yeah, comedic narration I
Yeah.
absolutely love.
But, like, serious
but yeah.
narration usually isn't as compelling as just showing, not telling, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I almost kind of like want to rewatch this on just like mute,
Yeah.
see what happens.
Except the song at the end. You have to listen to that. It's a beautiful song.
Let's throw out there as well that there's only one song in this entire movie.
Yeah.
And they just play different versions of it throughout the whole movie. And I honestly think they utilize it pretty well.
It is good.
We
But-
still got our montage, though.
Oh, you're
Nope.
not going to have Makoto Shinkai without a montage. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Honestly. It's a really great capstone to the movie at the end.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else.
Landscape's still looking pretty, but God, their faces were hideous in this one.
Their faces were not good. I don't know.
He was getting there.
We were kind of talking about this, and Al told me to save it. I'm like, the art was not as good as I remembered it being. Like, yes, the landscapes are still pretty, but, like, it was not as, like, wow, as I remembered it.
But it was also 2007. Remember, the iPhone had just come out.
This was the pinnacle of animation for a while.
Like, it is kind of... I feel like we're just having one of those moments where you go back and look at what was considered the best at the time, and like, oh, this was so amazing, and then by, like, today's standards, like, wow, I guess not really. Like, Toy Story, 1995, the first full CGI movie.
Yeah.
Amazing for its time. Oh my god, that dog and the people look terrible.
Well, yeah, the toys look fine. The humans,
honestly, brilliant move on their part. Everything looks plastic, so let's just make everything actually plastic in the movie.
Yeah, that's why they did it.
Yeah, smart move.
I think the backgrounds with this one still are gorgeous, but yeah, I always thought the people looked kind of funky. Even back then, I feel like there were way better anime people. I don't know, like the faces are weird.
Yeah, I think the strength of this, like part of it is the backgrounds, the settings
look
and
great,
stuff, which I think by his standards today they look better now.
Yeah,
personally, but like that comes with time. You just get better and better over time.
Yeah, no, definitely. The faces just kind of give, like, oh, it's my first time drawing anime.
Yeah.
A little bit,
like the Learn to Draw anime book.
Yeah, like...
The eyes are just, like, a little wonky.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but I think one of Shinkai's biggest draws to his movies, beyond the art, is usually just the emotional impact sometimes it has, positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's very good at catharsis and just kind of having, some level of like emotional resolution for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And like a lot of... They're roller coaster rides, usually.
For sure.
And this is a slower roller coaster ride than some of his other ones, but I think it still works really well and shows at least...
I feel like the emotions are still there, and like he just gets better at putting the story around it later.
Yeah. So, like, it's kind of nice to see where he was coming from at the beginning. Before he decided to go Ghibli for one movie.
Mm-hmm.
How did we all feel satisfaction level with the ending? Because I know a lot of people are split on that. They feel like it's very unsatisfying, but I'm like, hell yeah, you go, Akari, don't look back.
I mean, there's always going to be people that kind of wish that the two got back together years later and it was like a Hallmark movie and it's just like, I love you, please marry me.
Nah.
I
think... Oh.
No, go ahead.
I think for me, I wouldn't have liked it if they got back together because this felt like real life. Like, usually, you won't get back together with your first love.
Yeah.
Usually you'll drift apart and you'll live your own lives. And sadly, he got stuck in the past. But, like, in real life, it's still, like, regardless of how you react to it, usually it doesn't work out that way, So I personally found it more profound and impactful that they didn't get together. I think if they had, it would have felt more average to me. Like, it would have just felt like a little romance movie, But to me, it felt real and stuck with me because they didn't get together in the end. And because it didn't turn out nicely,
I kind of had a little bit of different reactions the two times that I've seen this. I was much more okay with the ending this time around, but I think part of that was because I think whenever I originally watched this, I wasn't able to see what was going on in the middle section with his emails. I don't think they had translated it in the version that I had seen then. So I had thought incorrectly that they were still communicating. And then I was like, and then right at the end, I was like, but they were supposed to get back together. They were together for like the beginning one and then the middle one. And now at the end, they're just not. That was not the case.
Yeah.
So the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, why'd you do that to me? You hurt me so bad, you took them apart. But now I'm like, oh, no, now everything makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think they're both satisfying either way you look at it. I mean, a little less so when I thought they were still, like, talking to each other and still actively, like, in a relationship together. But still, it was definitely, regardless of whether I liked it or not, still held a lot of, like, emotional impact at the end. And I did come away from it being like, I'm glad I watched this.
In the third act, when she's like, I'm getting married, did you think she was getting married to him?
For half a second, and then I realized no. And that's when I was like, what? They're not together? I don't know. You know, it's interesting. Would I be more satisfied with this thing had I had bigger emotion out of it? I got more emotion out of it the first time because I felt a little betrayed by it, which definitely made it a bit of more of a memorable experience at that moment. But at the same time, that wasn't what the actual experience was. So it's kind of interesting to think about which one might be better. I think the story's better the second time I watch it because I actually get the full story. But again, and part of this might just be because it's the second time around, I'm not having the same emotional impact from it. So.
Oh, yeah. I feel like also when we watched it the first time around, we were probably still children ourselves.
Yeah.
Not me.
I think I was in high school.
First time I saw this, I think I was out of college, so yeah. But I could still recognize a lot of the bigger emotions. Was that when I showed it to you? Yeah, that's when you showed it to me.
Yeah.
Were you still in your puppy love phase, Al?
You know, I don't kiss and tell, so. I feel like I clogged up that section a little bit. What was everyone else's reactions with the ending?
I mean, like I said, I felt a little empty at first, but then I realized it's not a fairy tale. It's, like Yen said, it's real life, and a lot of times people, go through that. So I kind of... And plus, I should have known, the reputation the movie had beforehand.
It would be sad.
You didn't start making fairy tales until your name.
I am a sucker for, like, an unhappy ending anyways. But I very much enjoyed that he did not get what he wanted.
Yeah. Like, he should not win.
That satisfies me very much.
It's interesting.
So what you're saying is that The Dark Knight is your favorite Batman movie, and Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back are your favorite Star Wars movies.
I mean, of their respective trilogies, they are the best movies.
Yeah.
Which Dark Knight?
The Dark Knight.
With Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yeah,
okay.
The Nolan one.
I think it's interesting that, like, I think early in this series of Makoto Shinkai films, we brought up the Radwimps, so he's always using the Radwimps now, and I was like, oh, this is like Scorsese and the Rolling Stones. And it's interesting that this ending is kind of like a Rolling Stones lyric. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you get what you need. And he needed to move on.
But this isn't Radwimps.
No, but I just wanted a Rolling Stones reference. Let me have this.
No, Al, you can't have it. That's Patreon content.
That's not that big.
It's related.
Well, if we ever get to Scorsese or something in anime, yay or nay, we'll discuss it then.
As the natural progression of an anime podcast goes.
Have you not seen
Die Hard?
Have you not seen the Goodfellas anime?
Oh my god.
I'm not. Is that an actual thing?
No, it's not a real
What
thing.
if it
What are you?
was?
God damn it. You got my hopes up.
I would laugh.
Speaking of movies with good narration.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, Scorsese has a lot of movies with really good narration.
And I guess they're not comedies, so I guess it works sometimes.
They are funny, though, at times.
Yeah.
Goodfellas can be really
they
darkly
have,
funny.
a sense of humor about them.
Casino had a really good thing with a very dark comedic use of...
I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
Oh, I'll show it to you. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about whenever they use the narration and then, like, use it for, like, a really dramatic effect.
Mm.
Oh, I just had a great idea.
Go for it.
Patreon content is us going through the list.
Maybe.
Yeah, just make that the Patreon.
Well, I mean, if you start paying me, I'll talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we have anything else to talk about this? Any other final thoughts or anything? I think I'm still a yay on this one.
Yeah, I'm a yay.
Yeah, I'm a light yay. I liked it more than last week's movie, but yeah. Oh, wait, take that back. 2 weeks ago, the Garden Awards.
What, you didn't like feet?
We know Makoto Shinkai does.
He definitely does.
Not that there's anything wrong with liking feet.
Yeah, no, hey, you're valid. Were you going to say,
I'm
Cece?
going to clip that and make it my ringtone.
You just need me to tell you you're valid more often?
Maybe.
All right, here's your ringtone, Cece. Your foot fetish is valid, Cece.
God damn it.
It's because I kink shame CC so often.
Kink shaming is Kozi's
rude.
kink.
Rude? I don't know how to work with this right now.
I think I'm continuing my trend of liking each movie less and less as we go on.
Oh dear. Well,
that's fair.
Well, we're almost at the finish line. I think
so you might really hate this next one.
Yeah, this is the last one. We got his first
what
feature
do their
film.
faces look like?
I'm a meh here. Like, I think, like, if you're really into, like, Makoto Shinkai, definitely worth the watch. Also, if you just want to see, like, a snippet of what anime history was kind of like, at least in the West. But, like, if you want to watch it for its story alone, it's not anything amazing.
I mean, I think at this point we can definitely say that early Shinkai does not feel like today's Shinkai. There are some common elements, but it's different now.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, I feel like any good artist does evolve over time and like change up their work a little bit.
And I feel like he's gotten better. You know, he's only improved.
He has, very much so. I still think of my top 3 for him are still the 3 that just came out most recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, finish line's coming up. Next week we're doing the last of his feature films. The first one he made, The Place Promised in Our Early Days. Has anyone seen this one yet?
I have.
Nope.
Oh, this is the one with those orphan kids that get eaten, right? They're like growing up on a farm.
That's The Promised Neverland.
Nice try. Nice try, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, the animation in this one is super janky.
Well,
I think the faces are still weird for sure.
Well, this will be an experience then. But then we'll be off to other experiences. I'm actually kind of looking
I will
forward
say
to the next
it's
section.
more stylized, so it doesn't feel as weird, but the animation itself is a little janky.
Well, we'll have to check it out when we see it next week. So come join us for that, and then find out what we're going to be doing afterwards, because I'm looking forward to this next section. I think it's going to be fun. See you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series, Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!